Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Call of Duty is a video game series that we all know and may or may not love. Everyone knows Call of Duty, and that's mostly because of its multiplayer zombies, Warzone, or whatever it may be. But not many people talk about the campaigns anymore. The campaigns or the single player mode doesn't really get much attention these days. But the campaigns, in my opinion, are still an important part of Call of Duty and multiplayer games as a whole. So today I'm going to be ranking my top 5 Call of Duty campaigns from the series in my own personal opinion. I think there are some really good campaigns in these games, and yeah, I just went to make this list and talk about them. And without further ado, let's get into my number 5, which is Modern Warfare 2. Modern Warfare 2 is, let's just say it how it is. It's a crazy, action-packed mess, but a very fun, crazy mess. I'm not going to pretend like it's the most realistic campaign or the best story, but it's really fun and really chaotic, and that's what I appreciate it for. It's not trying to do a super realistic or story-driven game or experience. It's just a really loud, extreme, chaotic action movie of a game. And this was the first Call of Duty to be like that. The set pieces are super over the top, some of the scenes are absolutely crazy, and yeah, the action is just great. The pacing is pretty much just constant action throughout the game. It switches back and forth between Task Force 141 with Price, Soap and Ghost, and the Rangers with good old Ramirez. The spectacle throughout the game is amazing, with so many exciting and iconic scenes, as well as controversial scenes, and the action and set pieces are constantly engaging. There really are so many great cinematic scenes, like the invasion of the US and Wolverines, the Gulag, and of course the tragic death of one of the best characters in Call of Duty. The plot has a great sense of urgency and scale, and this twist is part of the reason for that sense of urgency and desperation. The scale is also another thing. It's World War III, and it just feels really dramatic and again exciting. A big part of that excitement, or something that adds a lot to that feeling of desperation and urgency, is the amazing soundtrack. The soundtrack of Modern Warfare 2 by Hans Zimmer is incredible, and again, it adds so much to the game and to the emotions you feel. It's exciting and epic at moments, and more sad and desperate at moments like Ghost's death or the invasion and Wolverines. The guns are also great. This is kind of a minor thing because the guns are great in all of these games, but yeah, they're memorable, iconic guns that are fun to use. But yeah, Modern Warfare 2's campaign is really well done. There are so many memorable and iconic scenes, so many great characters. The dialogue between these characters is really well done as well. There are a lot of great lines, and it's just a super exciting, engaging, fun action movie of a Call of Duty campaign. Next at number 4 is Black Ops 2. Black Ops 2 is one of the most, probably the most praised and well-liked Call of Duty for its campaign. The multiplayer too, but maybe not the zombies as much. But yeah, the campaign is really well-liked, and it definitely deserves it. The campaign of Black Ops 2 is really well done. It has a lot of great characters, a great story, and of course it has multiple different endings based on your player choice. This is the big thing about Black Ops 2. You can make your own choices, and those choices have meaningful effects. You can choose which characters you want to save or which ones you want to let die and things like that. And again, the choices aren't meaningless. If you thought it might be something like where the choices seem important but they don't really have any effect, then you would have thought wrong. This was the first time there was anything like this in Call of Duty, and they did a really good job with it. They handled it really well, and it's cool to see the consequences of your choices, whether they be good or bad. And of course, besides that, the campaign itself is really good too. There are a lot of good moments in this campaign, and like I said, there are a lot of great characters, a lot of which are new. Many of the characters are new, and they're all good characters. I felt attached to them throughout the story, which made the choices more impactful. Probably the most important character or most memorable character is the villain, Raul Menendez, and he's a great character and a great bad guy. Menendez is really well done. He feels like a powerful, threatening villain. Like, it feels like I actually care about this guy. You know, he's not just some random guy that isn't really a big deal. His character is done well so that the player actually cares about him and feels connected. And he isn't just your stereotypical evil villain. He has an interesting backstory and interesting motivations for what he does. And it really is just a good story overall. The story goes back and forth between the new story, which takes place in a new setting of the near future, or at least it was when the game came out, and the past, around the time of the first Black Ops. It goes back and forth with the new characters and old, and some of them are in both. We see Woods in his old age, and we also see Alex Mason's son David. On the gameplay side, it's your typical Call of Duty, but one thing they added is picking loadouts. In Black Ops 2, you can pick your guns before the level begins, which is a nice touch of customization. The levels as a whole are pretty well done. There are some good levels here. There's some more stealthy sections as well as some exciting moments. And there's a good variety of locations and settings with the two time periods the game takes place in. And yeah, some of the levels and moments are some of the best that the series has to offer. And as a whole, Black Ops 2 is one of the best Call of Duty campaigns out there. And in third place is Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. Call of Duty 4 was the first Call of Duty to take place in a modern setting, and I think it's the best one, at least on the campaign side of things. This is where a lot of the things we see today began, of course with the multiplayer, but in the campaign as well. The characters, for one thing, like Price and Soap, got introduced in this game. Well, I guess that's technically not true. Price was in Call of Duty 1, but the Price that we all know was introduced here, and of course Soap as well. Call of Duty 4 was also a big shift in the gaming scene in general, not just in the series. Before Call of Duty 4, modern shooters were not super popular, at least I don't think. But after this game released and became the big thing it was, modern shooters became very popular, as did Call of Duty in general. And it was for a reason. Call of Duty 4's campaign and multiplayer were both really well done, and they both helped to propel Call of Duty to new heights. And yeah, the campaign is really great, and I could definitely see some people saying it's the best in the series. It has some of the best levels in the series, and overall the levels are really good. Almost all of them are great. There are so many memorable, amazing levels and moments. I mean, almost all of the levels of the game are super memorable, and just really well put together and well done, even starting in the beginning with the ship in the sea and the Russian Civil War. I believe that's what it was, where us and Price team up with the Russians in one of the first levels. That was a really great mission, and of course you have big moments like the nuke or a mission like All Gillied Up. You know, those are some of the most iconic moments in the series. Even the very start of the game with the training mission, where you have two of the most well-known lines in the series. I mean, the levels are just so well done, so well put together. Again, like I said, they're all great levels. You have the AC-130 mission. That was the start of that style of mission, and it's not the only time we would see it in the series. Like I said, All Gillied Up is widely considered the best mission in Call of Duty. I'm not sure if I totally agree with that, but it is certainly up there. The Bog mission is another super memorable level. The setting of that mission with the orange, war-torn atmosphere is honestly great. And that brings me to the next thing, which is the aesthetic. A lot of these missions are super memorable, and a lot of that is because of the aesthetic. Many of these missions have really unique looks and feelings to them. Again, the AC-130 mission, and the mission before that where you're on foot. Those are great examples, and so is the Bog. The Bog really has that war-torn feeling. So does War Pig, which is one of the American missions where you fight with a tank. I don't want to keep repeating myself, but these missions are honestly just great and really memorable. Call of Duty 4 has many of the best missions in the series, and it's definitely one of the best campaigns the series has to offer. And the story isn't even that great. The story isn't all that special. It's pretty much just hunting down bad guys, but the set pieces, the characters, and the missions are what makes it such a great campaign. The second best Call of Duty campaign, in my opinion, is World at War. World at War is honestly a very unique Call of Duty campaign. World at War is a one-of-a-kind Call of Duty campaign because it does something that none of the other games really do, and that's the brutality that it has and the portrayal of war. World at War is a very brutal, dark game, which none of the other games really are like. The game portrays war in a very serious, dark way. It doesn't glorify it like maybe Modern Warfare 2 does. It really makes you realize how messed up and terrible World War II was. World at War doesn't mess around with that. It even starts out with you being captured and having to watch your teammates, your fellow soldiers, get tortured in front of you. At one point in the game, you have to choose what to do with a group of surrendering enemies. You can shoot them to give them a quick death or throw Molotovs at them to make them burn to death. It's things like this that makes you kind of take a step back from the game and think about what it must have been like. It makes you think about this as something more than just a game. It makes you realize how terrible it really was. And one thing that's kind of interesting is it isn't even made a big deal out of things like this. You could go from watching someone get tortured right back into combat like it's nothing. So the game really makes you think about the real war that took place through its brutal portrayal within the game. But it also does a great job of that, of making you think about how the war really was, through its use of real life footage. This is also something that's pretty unique about World at War, that it uses real life footage in its cutscenes. It's actually really interesting to be able to see the actual war, to see real footage of it, then be put into the game and experience it for yourself, at least in the game. It's just very moving in a way that none of the other campaigns really are. It's very thought-provoking. It makes you feel how they felt. It makes you feel a lot of things, and that's helped by the amazing soundtrack. The soundtrack really makes you feel a lot of different emotions. The main menu theme is absolutely great. You've probably heard it. It speaks for itself. There's not a lot to say, just listen to it. And there's lots of other great soundtracks too, like some of the ones that play in the Russian campaign. The soundtrack is great, but besides that, and besides the brutal portrayal of war, it's just a cinematic game in general. There are so many really great scenes and moments. There's something about the game that just really immerses you and makes you feel like you're there. The sound effects and the atmosphere just make you feel like you're in a war. The sounds of the guns, the sounds of people yelling and screaming, planes flying, bombs being dropped, it's very immersive. And the visual presentation is another thing that is very well done. Towards the end of the Russian campaign, when you're in Berlin, you can really see how the city is being destroyed. Overall, World at War is a phenomenal campaign. Like I said, the brutality, the music, the atmosphere, it's all really well done, and it barely didn't get number 1. Before we get to number 1, I want to talk about some honorable mentions. Black Ops 1 barely didn't make the list, and I know that's probably a shock because a lot of you were probably expecting it to be number 1 after the last ones I've said. But yeah, it actually didn't make the list, and I just wanted to mention it because it's a really great campaign. It introduces, of course, many of the fan favorite characters like Mason, Reznov, and Woods. It has a lot of great missions, a lot of great moments, and it has a really cool and unique story. The story about the numbers and the sleeper agents and all that stuff was really unique at the time, and still is pretty much today. But I think Modern Warfare 2 barely beats it just from the sheer fun and chaos that it has. Just the energy and the action, and the amount of memorable moments in that game makes it a little bit better in my opinion. Modern Warfare 3, the old one, is also a pretty good campaign. This one isn't really in the same league as the top 5 and Black Ops 1, but it still is a good campaign. It has a lot of good things about it, and it wraps up the story nicely. It's just that the others are more fun and exciting and memorable. But nonetheless, Modern Warfare 3 is a pretty decent campaign. Finally, a more modern one, well actually two, but we'll get to the second one. The first one is Cold War. Cold War is a pretty decent campaign. There's some good parts in it. The characters are pretty good, but really the best part is that there's multiple endings. This is the only other Call of Duty besides Black Ops 2 to have multiple endings, and they did a pretty decent job here. There's pretty much only two endings. One of them is the good ending where you save the day, and the other is the bad ending where you betray everyone and kill them. Yeah, that's actually what happens, and it's pretty funny. The other one is Modern Warfare 2019. Modern Warfare 2019 brought the series back to Modern Warfare, and it did a pretty good job bringing back that setting and the characters and whatnot. It had some pretty good moments like Safe House, for example, which is a great mission, but it's not as exciting or memorable as some of the better campaigns in the series. I haven't played it, but I have heard that Infinite Warfare also has a pretty good campaign. Of course, I can't really say anything on it, but yeah, I heard it. Of course, I can't really say anything on it, but yeah, I heard it's good, but I can't rank it, obviously. Would it have made the top 5? Maybe. I mean, to be honest, probably not, unless it was really good and really surpassed my expectations. But I doubt that would happen. Maybe I'll play it one day and see. And finally, the Call of Duty campaign that I think is the best is Call of Duty 2. This is probably really surprising to most of you. You probably didn't see this coming, but just hear me out. Call of Duty 2 is actually really good. Call of Duty 2 has some of my favorite missions in the whole series, and I obviously think it's the best campaign. The missions are actually really great in Call of Duty 2. It's a World War II game, obviously, and it has 3 different sort of smaller campaigns. It's split into the Russian campaign in Stalingrad, the British campaign in Africa, and the American campaign, and each one of them is really well done. They all have a great sense of urgency and excitement and intensity. It feels like you're at war. It's really immersive. And again, it's exciting. It's kind of hard to explain. It's almost stressful at some points. Like I said, it feels like you're at war. I hope you're gonna understand what I'm trying to say. You should play it yourself and see. The best example I can give is probably during the British campaign, when one of the missions starts you in a vehicle, then you get ambushed and you're surrounded on all sides by guys on buildings above you shooting at you, and you have to escape. Another thing is the atmosphere is really great in this game. The beginning of the game, the Russian campaign, takes place in Stalingrad in the winter, and the snowy winter, atmosphere is really nice to look at. And another thing is that it's nostalgic for me because I played this game when I was little, and the snowy missions are nostalgic to me, but even without that, they are really good missions. The British campaign as well is great. It takes place, like I said, in Africa, which is not seen very often in World War II games. You fight in the desert, fighting through towns, and some of the missions are at night and some are during the day. The graphics aren't the best. I think this game came out in 2005, but the art style and the atmosphere make up for that. The American campaign also has a great art style and atmosphere, and has some great missions as well. The first one is D-Day, and yeah, it's overused, but this version isn't the one that we always see that everyone knows. It's actually a different part of the operation where we climb up a cliff with the ropes. It's nice to have something a little different, and it's done pretty well. It's very intense. You have people shooting at you from what seems like everywhere. You have to climb the rope and then find cover on the top and make your way to the objective. And then I believe after that is when we get the speech about this mission. We hear an actual speech about the real mission that took place. It's actually really cool. I mean, the mission in real life was crazy. There were only 200 something soldiers who did this, and had to hold out for I believe it was 2 days until they got reinforcements. I mean, those guys, the Rangers, had to be some of the strongest, most resilient people in history that I can think of. And it's nice to see them get some recognition in this game, when it's usually the typical type of D-Day that we always see. And for gameplay reasons, it's nice as well to do something different. The rest of the American missions are really good too. You really should play this game for yourself if you can, not only for the great missions, but for the amazing gameplay. Call of Duty 2 plays perfectly. It feels so smooth, and the guns feel amazing. I believe it's the best Call of Duty campaign. Great gameplay and amazing missions, maybe except for the tank ones. But yeah, definitely play this game if you can. And yeah, that's about it. Those are my top 5 Call of Duty campaigns. Let me know if you agree or disagree and what your favorite Call of Duty campaign is. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, a like or subscribe would be appreciated, and I'll see you in the next one.